To find true intimacy, I think that the most important thing is to truly allow someone else to see you and to truly see another person. And I think the main reason that we struggle to do that is our inability to accept another person fully. And usually, when we can't accept someone else, it's because we don't accept ourselves. So there's a lot of areas when it comes to what acceptance really means. And I think most of us are running from ourselves. We don't want to feel. We don't want to feel the bad feelings. We're comfortable in being happy or peaceful or content, but we're not so happy when we're triggered, and we want to run from those feelings because we're afraid of them. And when we learn to face those feelings, we can come to acceptance of all parts of who we are. But I think that most of us on some level are avoiding ourselves. And that can look like a whole lot of things. We can avoid ourselves in excitement and adrenaline and the thought that this other thing is going to bring us what we want. We avoid ourselves in our ego when we get validation from other people. We can avoid ourselves in alcohol or food or drugs or TV. And usually what happens is we have a feeling that we don't really want to face, and we have habits and ways that we get around not feeling that feeling. So we feel a bit triggered or a bit upset by something that maybe our partner does, and rather than making some space to feel into that and to be with that feeling, we run from it in whatever way it is that we've learned to run from our feelings. So when we start to try and change that and we feel something that we don't like, but instead of running from it, we just face it, we just sit with it, we close our eyes and we feel into the sensations in our body. So if I'm triggered about something, my mind might tell me a million stories about what that means. And the mind can run away with itself, and that's painful. We can create a lot of suffering in the mind. But in our body, the feelings aren't so hard to hold. In our body, it's easier to close our eyes and just say, this feels like a heaviness in my stomach, or this feels like a tightening in my throat, or a pain in my chest. So when we start to look at pain in a more embodied sense, it's a lot easier to be with the pain. But we need to start creating different choices and habits around, rather than avoiding, we start to face ourselves. And the more that we start to face ourselves, the more that we can come to acceptance of our whole self. Rather than I accept myself in a good mood and I accept myself here, but when something feels negative or uncomfortable to me, I want to run from it. We can start to feel into the discomfort and recognize that it's not as painful as maybe we've told ourselves that it is. And the more that we face it, the smaller it gets. Because the thing is with avoidance is the pain just gets bigger and bigger. We suppress our emotions. So I feel this thing I don't really want to feel. I don't want to look at it. I want to hide that. I want to put that in a box, and I don't want to be with that feeling. But we can't do that. That's not real. So what happens is all that negative emotion starts to build in our body. We disconnect more and more with ourselves. So we're more drawn to running away more regularly. We need more avoidance strategies, and we become less and less connected with who we really are. And when we're not connected to who we are not accepting ourselves. And from a place of non-acceptance, there is no self-intimacy and there is no intimacy, because how can I connect with another person when I can't even connect with myself? And if I can't be with me, how do I bring me into an intimate experience? I can't, because I don't even want to see myself. So how can I allow another person to see me? So coming to acceptance of our partner is absolutely key if we want to start to create relationships that actually allow us to thrive. Relationships where it's not a battle. It's not about how can I control you? How can I own you? You know, it's not a place of fear. It's not a place of I'm insecure around this, or I'm afraid to see you because when I see you fully, I don't accept you. And I think learning to accept another person is really hard because we all have parts of ourselves that we don't accept. And first, we have to start with ourselves. We have to find a way of saying, do you know what? Like, sometimes there's things that maybe I'm not so keen on about myself. You know, maybe I wish I was a little bit different here, but maybe I can still love myself here. Maybe I can accept that I'm not perfect. Nobody is. And like, what even is perfect? I think that a perfect person is someone who is an equal balance of happy and sad, good and bad. Like, everything is polarity, and we're never going to be all light. Like, there's always going to be darkness. There's always going to be pain, like pleasure and pain polarity. There's always going to be everything. And can I come to a space where I just think that I am enough, where I can truly believe that I am okay the way that I am? And when we start to find that place where we are content enough with who we are as a person, then we can start to open up to, now I can start to accept other people too, because I can also recognize that they're not going to be perfect, just like I'm not. They're going to have stuff as well that they're struggling with, or places where they're not so accepting of themselves. And I think when it comes to accepting another person, the only way we can really do that work is through radical honesty. It's impossible to accept someone if they're not telling you their truth. So if somebody is protecting you, or telling you, I don't feel that way, or hiding bits, like hiding when they're having a difficult time, or hiding maybe a toxic thought that they had, or hiding little aspects of themselves because they don't want to hurt you, then you never see them. And sometimes those bits are uncomfortable and we'd rather not see them. We'd rather avoid those bits because that feels uncomfortable too. But I think we have to realize that we only grow through discomfort. Like, a place of discomfort is a powerful place to be. Our comfort zone isn't necessarily a happy place. Our comfort zone is just what we've always known. It's staying the same. So if I stay the same, sure, I might be comfortable, but is it even nice? Like, is how I feel right now actually how I want to feel, or do I want to feel better than this? And if I want to feel better than this, I have to start to step into uncomfortable places. I have to start sitting with uncomfortable feelings and feeling them fully, rather than just running from them all the time. So I think developing a relationship with radical honesty is the first step. And for somebody to be radically honest with you, you have to be safe. So if every time you share your truth with your partner, you're judged for it, or you're not accepted in that space, naturally you're going to start to shut down. You're going to feel like, I can't be honest with this person because they can't hold my truth. So you have to be able to hold somebody else's truth and be with that discomfort just like you can be with your own. And the more that someone realizes, I can be honest in this space without it being thrown against me, without somebody punishing me for my feelings, without someone trying to change me. Because acceptance is purely saying, I know that you're not perfect. I'm not expecting you to be, but I'm choosing you. I'm accepting this. I'm accepting this version of you that maybe you'd like it to be a little bit better, but right now this is enough for me. I can accept you here, and I don't need to say to you, you need to change this, this, and this in order for you to be good enough for me. Because when we're doing that, it is simply a projection of us feeling that in ourselves, us feeling, I'm not good enough. I need to change all these things about myself before I feel like I'm a good enough human. So radical acceptance only comes from a place of truth, a place of honesty, and a place of being able to be honest where that is held safely by the other person.